Hello, I have decided to do my final paper on child sexual abuse. It is a grave concern worldwide. Johnson in 2004 reported that it is an insidious, persistent, and serious problem that, depending on the population studied and definition used, affects 2 to 62% of women and 3 to 16% of men worldwide as its victims. While the physical aspects of the abuse usually heal in time, there are also very strong psychological and social consequences of abuse that can last a lifetime. Historically speaking, historians have discovered that adults in elite households in the 15th and 16th century Europe sometimes treated young children as sexual playthings. Even future kings and queens were subjected to sexual abuse by the royal court. In the 19th century, abuse started to receive some attention in newspapers. In an 1894 textbook, A System of Legal Medicine, it reported that the rape of children is the most frequent form of sexual crime. However, justice was far from accurate because of the cultural stereotypes that existed at that time, including sexism and racism. Additionally, there was no attention given to the psychological ramifications of abuse until the 1930s. During the 1970s, a sharp increase in divorce, single parenthood, and working mothers contributed to a heightened sensitivity of childhood sexual abuse. This helped to greatly raise awareness of the issue, and in 1974, Congress passed the Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act, which required states to create reporting requirements for all child abuse suspected cases. In the 1990s, there were also several cases of clergy abusing children, which also raised awareness and promoted justice for the victims. Currently, there is no official definition for child sexual abuse. However, the APA defines it through a central characteristic, which is the dominant position of an adult that allows him or her to force or coerce a child into any kind of sexual activity. It is difficult to know the current status of child sexual abuse because it is so frequently underreported. However, the impact of the abuse is a very broad spectrum. The APA reports that the impact of child sexual abuse can range from no apparent effects to very severe ones. Typically, children who experience the most serious types of abuse involving family members or high degrees of physical force, exhibit behavior problems ranging from separation anxiety to post-traumatic stress disorder. Children who suffered from sexual abuse are often also exposed to other major issues such as substance abuse or were abused in different additional ways, such as verbal and physical abuse. Biologically, the effects of sexual abuse are far-ranging. Sometimes there are few physical injuries, but sometimes there are major ones that can last up to a lifetime, including sexually transmitted diseases. Also, children are quite often injured in sexual abuse, and there are many signs of that sexual abuse, including vaginal or rectal bleeding, pain, itching, swelling or discharge, difficulty with bowel movements, urinating or swallowing, recurring complaints of stomach aches and or headaches, and trauma to the breast, buttocks, lower abdomen, or genital or rectal areas. They also might have had infections at the time of the abuse. Another biological concern is the lack of understanding by physicians, who are often the first people to treat abuse victims. Johnson concluded that of great concern is the persistent lack of knowledge that physicians have shown about normal and abnormal female genitalia. Misinterpretation of these findings can lead to a mistaken report of physical trauma or failure to even recognize the trauma entirely. Johnson reported that when children seen by emergency room physicians who found no evidence of trauma were re-examined a mean of 2.1 weeks later, 17% were found to have clear evidence of abuse. It is absolutely necessary that the trauma and abuse be recognized immediately. Psychologically, child sexual abuse can be entirely debilitating. Psychological problems often include depression, anxiety, guilt, fear, and withdrawal. Additionally, the effects vary on the intensity of the abuse. A more violent or traumatic abuse might cause regressive behavior, sleep disturbances, or eating problems. Prevent Child Abuse America also reported that the victim may have poor relationships with other children, a lack of self-confidence, and the desire to engage in self-destructive behavior such as biting oneself, pulling out hair, or wrist cutting. The psychological effects for children are horrifying, but as adults, the children who were sexually abused can also develop other mental disorders. They commonly experience depression. They also sometimes have high levels of anxiety, which can lead these adults to experience other self-destructive behaviors, such as alcoholism or drug abuse, anxiety attacks, situation-specific anxiety attacks, and insomnia. Socially, the victims may have to miss school for physical injuries or have inappropriate behavior. Victims of sexual abuse may also develop fear and anxiety regarding the opposite sex or sexual issues and may display inappropriate sexual behavior. Children quite often find it difficult to create healthy, lasting relationships. The APA shows that often the child has behavior and or performance problems at school and non-participation in school and social activities. Revictimization also frequently occurs to adults who were sexually abused. The APA reported that research has shown that child sexual abuse victims are more likely to be the victims of rape or to be involved in physically abusive relationships as other adults are. Sexual abuse has wide-ranging effects, but in any case is an absolutely horrible situation that needs to be given love and care and shown the redemption of Christ. Thank you for listening to my research and have a great day.